SA, your favorite to win it all, the Boston Celtics, looking pretty good right now. 4-0 to start the season after demolishing the Pacers by 51 points last night. What's your reaction to that strong start?
Well, it was, first of all, they're the most, I think that they're the deepest team in the Eastern Conference. I think that they're my favorites, even though I wouldn't be surprised if Milwaukee had something to say about that. But they were burying threes. If I remember correctly, they hit like 20 or 35 threes. They were draining threes all over the place. You're the superior team, plus you're hitting threes. I think that the conclusion was foregone. I didn't expect 155 points. That's something for Rick Carlisle and the Indiana Pacers should be thinking about. If the game was in Indiana, they should have given the folks their money back. But it was in Boston, so that's what comes with it.
All right. Hey, that laugh you hear? That's Kendrick Perkins. All right. Meanwhile, the Warriors just seem to have the Kings' number. Golden State moved to 4-1 on the season after Klay Thompson hit the game-winning jumper with just over a second left. Steph continued a strong season, putting up 21, while Dre added 13 and 9 assists. Draymond, why are the Warriors clicking so well?
Last year we had an awful team as far as chemistry goes. It was pathetic. It was hard to come to work. Not fun, and so this year you see the joy, on guys' face when they come in the building, and you're like, okay, this is a group that likes being together. And I think, we're trying to build on that, and that'll be a big key to our season.
Stephen A., any issue with Draymond's comments about team chemistry?
It's hard to say because there are clips, sound bites, and I don't know if he avoided saying this. But if he brought up that point and he didn't bring up the why, well, then that would be a problem. Because when he knocked out Jordan Poole, that had a lot to do with the fact that it wasn't fun to come to work. It was a house divided. And the reality is that it wasn't divided because there was this lack of love and respect for either teammate or anything like that, especially in the case of Draymond Green. We know what he means to the Warriors. I love him personally. But even when I interviewed him on my podcast and we talked about things, the reality is he knew how wrong he was to do what he did. He knew why he was wrong. And he knew that was something that was very, very difficult to recover from. I remember Big Perk, Draymond telling me this, and of all the things that he said something that I've held on to since that interview about what transpired when he hit Jordan Poole. He said the incredulous look on the face of Steph Curry. Steph Curry, you could see, the disappointment. But he said it didn't even feel like it was towards him. Steph Curry almost came across as if he was disappointed in himself that he didn't see the divide that existed before that incident actually happened. And if he had saw it and caught it, maybe he would have been able to do something about it. He wasn't saying that in a literal sense. He was just simply saying that was the look and that was the kind of body language he received from Steph Curry at that time. So just imagine you with a teammate and, Draymond Green's personal life is his personal business. He confided in me in terms of what happened and what led to him doing what he did. And Jordan Poole is not nearly as innocent in all of this as people may think. But in the end, the bottom line is he knows he should not have done that. That was a devastatingly wrong thing for Draymond Green to do. And it had a profound effect in a negative way on the franchise and the entire season. Our very own Bob Myers knows it, being there as president of basketball operations last year. Steve Kerr spoke to it immediately. Joe Lacob spoke to it. The whole organization knew. All I'm saying is that I don't know whether Draymond said it last night or not. But when he said what he said, I would hope that somewhere in that soundbite, he said, I was largely culpable of that divide and that lack of chemistry and that lack of togetherness because of what I did. I didn't hear him say that.
Well, he somewhat did. He said we. That included himself. And he's not lying, though, S.A. He didn't tell one lie. And here's the thing, right? We look at their team right now, we look at the players that they have on this roster from last year. They basically got the same people, right? We're losing a few people like Andre Iguodala, my boy Iggy, to retirement. And then the guy that really was causing the problems in the locker room in Jordan Poole. Like, think about this for a second. The great Kevin Garnett used to always tell Rondo and myself, he used to say, you know what, Perk, I always watch around the league to see how these young fellas are going to act once they get their letters, right? That's when they're going to tell you who they really are.
When they get their money.
And get that. That's the letters. Yeah, that's the letters.
You and I know that. I'm just saying everybody don't know that. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
I'm making sure the American public knows. All right,
okay, cool. But here's the thing, right? So they get Jordan Poole out of the locker room they trade him out of the locker room to the Wizards. Now all of a sudden, you see the cohesiveness, you see the chemistry, you see the joy, even with Steph Curry, right? And when I think about last season, how many times did we see Steph Curry get frustrated with Jordan Poole in certain instances, with his shot selection or doing certain plays? The whole team was frustrated with Jordan Poole. So at the end of the day, yes, I'm not applauding what Draymond Green did, especially as a leader. We're talking about what he did for us knocking out Jordan Poole. But at the end of the day, he didn't tell no lie. And you could tell the chemistry is different. You could tell they're back to playing basketball, and it's their sanctuary. And you could tell everyone is on one accord in the same page, on the same page.
Yeah. And I'm not disagreeing with anything that you say. But if you look at the quote where he said, quote, it was pathetic, hard to come to work, not fun. Those things that you pointed out about Jordan Poole, as accurate as that is, it doesn't force those emotions, not to that degree. There was something far deeper, and we all know what that deeper was.
Yeah. And let me say this. Steph Curry, I mean, we applaud LeBron James, but S.A. and Molly, the way that he has approached this season like he has something to prove has been a beautiful thing to watch. Every single game, he's playing it like it's a game 7.
Well,
what?
Is it? Maybe that's not it at all. Maybe it's what you said. Maybe it ain't about him having something to prove. Maybe now, last year he had to carry. Now he's back to having fun. So maybe it's just as simple as that. Maybe it's just as simple as, damn, it's fun to come to work again. It's fun to come to practice. It's fun to be around these fellas in this environment. And we're seeing that come to fruition. We're seeing the fruits of that labor. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the level of aggression, the way that he's played, I saw that from him last year. What I'm seeing from Steph Curry right now, last year I saw greatness. This year, and obviously that's not the only season I saw greatness from him, but this year I'm seeing a brother that's having a good time. Mm-hmm. That's having a good time. That's what I'm seeing.
And you know who else having a good time? Yours truly. Watching this season. You know why? Let me explain why. Especially with the Western Conference, every single game, in my opinion, has seemed like a playoff game because of the addition of the play-in tournament. But also, it seems to me is that people are taking these games more serious, and every single night they're looking at it and saying, you know what, we're not going to have regrets. We're going to make sure, because they don't have any room to have faults or have, these drop-offs, Molly, because when you think about the West, it is so stacked that you could lose 2 games and be in the play-in tournament towards the end of the season. It's a beautiful thing to watch right now.
By the way, Molly, they beat Sacramento last year. Last shot, 0.2 seconds left by Klay Thompson. Beautiful thing to see because if he gets going, that's special. But I will remind everybody, it came down to that, even though Sacramento did not have De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
That makes it, that just piggybacking off of West.
Tournament, Stephen A., correct me if I'm wrong, it's soon, right? And I mean, I know it's starting, but as far as Vegas, I'm talking about. But I'm talking about the
in-season tournament.
Yeah, the in-season tournament. Yeah, the in-season tournament. Right? Isn't it December 7th
Yeah,
through the 11th?
That playoffs, the semifinals, and the finals. December 9th is the championship game. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I know you'll be out there.
You'll be there. We'll be there. You'll be there.
Right, well, you need to tell
Get ready
James
for Vegas.
Dunn.
Get ready for Vegas.
Get those. You know how I feel about last-minute arrangements, okay, Stephen A.? So,
I know. I also know that you have this uncanny ability, despite your frustrations, to get over it. You'll be just fine. It's Vegas. It's Vegas.